sponsored by what the fuck is it called?
Zipquicks. Wait. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, pretend race car driver Marcus Osborne. We are here after a small hiatus. I was gone for a little bit, but I'm back, and it is week 9, the sprint double header at Osborne Motors Endurance Challenge. We come to you tonight with 2 tracks in Japan. Got a Japan weekend. First track's going to be Fuji Speedway for a nice 30-minute sprint, and then after that we're going to head on down or up. I'm not really sure. Complaints by the drivers about the track layout, but you're going to like it. It's going to be a good time. But we start here at Fuji. We got about 10 people here so far. We are about halfway through practice. Everyone's out there putting in times so far. On the top of the leaderboard with a 139.6 is our man Nate Sides and that Team Rahal Porsche. Well, as I said, we have missed a couple weeks on the broadcast. I haven't been here. I was gone, but I'm back. So I believe the last one I broadcasted was Road America. After that, we had another doubleheader weekend, Interlagos and Lime Rock. There was lots of goodies happening there. And then that was 2 weeks ago. Last week we had an endurance race at Okayama. And I think there's been a little shakeup at the points. Our resident Bob Lindell has been gone for 2 weeks, so he's soaking up some of them drop weeks. But before those are calculated, he's fallen down in the standings a little bit. Right now, our current standings coming into this race week, we have Patrick Cantrell, who has taken first place. Behind him, we have John Kelly, and following up in third place is the man you see on the screen before you, Nate Sides. The gaps are widening a little bit, but it's still a pretty close race. And anything could happen. I think we've had some newcomers. We've got some new names tonight, looking to come out here, make a name for themselves. Jason Shank, Kevin Hayes, new faces. So we got about 14 minutes left. As I said, we are at Fuji International Speedway in Japan. This track's been here a while. It originally opened in 1965, and fun fact, Fuji was originally going to be designed as a NASCAR circuit. That's right, back in the 60s, there's some Japanese dudes wanted to race NASCAR in Japan, and so they were going to make an oval track. And they started building it at the foot of this mountain. Can we get the track map? That's not what I wanted at all. This is what I wanted. This is the track here at Fuji. And when they started out making it, it was going to be an oval track, and they were shaping it after Daytona. And so you see that massive main straight, which is almost one of the longest straights on any track on iRacing. That was going to be the front stretch, of Daytona. But then someone came out and was like, I don't really like NASCAR. We should do a road track instead. And then in 1965, Fuji International Speedway opened up. And here we are. That's a true story. You can Google it if you think I'm lying. We're here at Fuji. It's a 2.7 mile track, and like I said, we have that huge main straight. I took a spin on this track earlier today, and I was getting up to about 165 miles an hour on that main straight in the Ford. So we're going to have a lot of cars going very fast on that main straight. We do run the medium downforce setup, so it's not a low downforce, not high, but it is medium. So we're going to be able to get some good top speed there. It's gonna be a lot of drafting down that main straight. Draft is really gonna be your friend. So when you get started, you don't really want to lose the pack, because there's gonna be a lot of action going on down that straight. And that leads straight, once you get past that straight into turn 1, it's very sharp hairpin. So you're at top speed. You're gonna get hard on the brakes down for that sharp hairpin turn 1. And then through turn 2, which is just barely a turn, pretty much flat out, little kink in the road. Up to turn 3, which I believe is Coca-Cola Corner. Correct. Turn 3, Coca-Cola Corner, which is just a kind of light Little dab on the brakes. You're going to go through there, and then you got that big horseshoe, which is turns 4 and 5, otherwise known as 100R. And that corner, I think, was going to catch a lot of people out with these medium downforce setup, especially before the tires are warmed up. That is super slippery. It's a super tricky braking zone. You're going hard through turn 4, and then once you get to turn 5, you're kind of feathering off the throttle, a little bit of brakes, trying to get the car to rotate, but not too much, and it's really easy for that back end to just snap on you, and you're going to be spinning off into the runoff area. That one's super tricky corner, always catches me out, and then that will take you into turn 6 for that sharp left-hand corner, hairpin there. Again, another tricky hairpin corner. And then it's basically flat out through turn 7, 8, 9, otherwise known as 300R, but really not corners. Big flat-out sweeper to the right, coming up to yet another very sharp hairpin that leads into a chicane. Dunlop corner, T turns 10, 11, and 12. Hairpin into a chicane, super tricky to get right, but you really got to nail your exit for the run up to turns 13, 14, and 15. Again, really another set of really tricky corners where you really got to just be super light on the inputs, feather it through, and it's really easy to lose the car there. All these corners are super hard. And turn 15, that last left-hander there, you look on there, it's almost blind, and there's a ton of elevation, and it's really hard to see there. And then you got a turn 16, the Panasonic corner, the final corner before that big long straight, is again a very sharp right-hand corner before the main straight. And you want to get that right, because if you don't, you got that big main straight, and you're going to lose a ton of time. So we're going to do that. There we go. I was kind of vibing to that music. I think I was yelling a lot. I don't know. We'll find out. I've been gone for about 2 weeks, so it's been rough. Getting back in the swing of things, figuring out how to do this. From the looks of it, it looks like qualifying has started. I think our man Nate Sides here is on the outlap. Let's get rid of this overlay. Let's go back to here. We have qualifying has started. We got 10 minutes of qualifying. Everyone gets 2 laps to put in their best time, and it looks like Nate Sides is on that big long straight I was talking about. So let's go on board and let's see what a qualifying lap looks like in that Team Rahal Porsche. You're coming up here. It is sunrise over the mountains there. It's that big long straight coming into turn 1. You're really hard on the brakes for a very almost hairpin right-hand turn. You want to get on the gas early. The track is super wide, so you can run it out. You can take a 2-3 wide. It's possible. You're going to come up here. That was through turn 1. Turn 3 is just a little bit of dab on the brakes, and you really got to throw it in there. It takes a lot of commitment. Back on the gas and send it. And here's turns 4, 5, and 6. This is where you got to let off the gas a little bit. Back end of the car does want to kick around. Hit that curb on a little bit. Back on the gas gently. And then this is that sharp left-hand corner. You want to feather the throttle through there. And then we're on to these next series of sweeping right-handers. It's flat out all the way through here. You just want to kind of keep it on the right-hand side. Follow the car through the corners. Coming up here to this sharp right-hander, leading into a hairpin. That sausage curve might upset the car a little bit, so you want to cut those curves, but not too much. Avoid those little yellow bumps on the right-hand side. Coming up here to this right-hander, which is off camber, up the hill, blind. Terrible corner. Through the curb, and then you got to do another sharp left-handed uphill off camber corner. Super easy for the car to get loose. You want to run it out wide, but then you got to get all the way back left for this again. Right hand uphill off camber, weird corner, and then you want to get on the gas, but you can't run too wide here. Otherwise, you hit those left curbs, those 2 sausage curves on the left, and that is really going to mess up your day. It'll send your car in the air, and then you just have this amazing long straight. So you're really going to want a good exit because you're going to want a lot of top speed here. And that looks like Nate Sides across the line. First one to put in a time with a 39.3. Followed up by Patrick Cantrell, 1.4 seconds off the pace with a 140.7. So we have Jason Shank coming up next with a 142.2. Another 1.4 seconds off Patrick Cantrell. We got Kevin Hayes in the Ferrari. coming in for P3 with the 41.1. Jeff McDonald about to put in the time coming across that finish line. He did have green sectors. They were a personal best. But he must have had an off track because there is no time up on the board. Next we have Landon Orr. Usually in the Ferrari, but all of a sudden we see him in the Merc today. I think he's going to be running the Fuji 8 hours this weekend. So probably looking to get a little bit of practice in that car. But he's coming around that final corner. You can see just how kind of uphill it is. And he really invites you to run it out. But those yellow curbs there, as I said, will ruin your day. He's coming onto the main straight. He's got green sector 1 and 2. Trying to put down a quick time. Going across the finish line in that orange AMG Mercedes. And that is going to be enough for 4th place with a 41.1. Nate Sides coming across for his 2nd lap. But he's got all yellow sectors, so he's not going to improve. With that one, a 39.7. He was just a 10th off. Hopefully that 39.3 is enough to keep him on the front row. We'll see. Jason Shank coming around again. 3 green sectors, and that is enough for a 41.0 P3. Just behind Patrick Cantrell. Devin Adams comes around for P5. Let's see what car he's driving tonight. He's in the Mercedes. He's always in the Mercedes. Nick Tyrrell in that black Lamborghini coming across the line with all green sectors. Let's see what kind of time he can put up on the board. Ooh, at the back of the pack with that 141.5. But as we've seen in the past races, I think Nick Tyrrell likes to challenge. Maybe he's just doing that for the fun of it. I don't know, but he usually starts at the back and works his way up. So we'll definitely check back with him later. We got Landon Orr on the end of his final lap. That cut that pretty close. I would be surprised if that wasn't an off track. Yellow sector. Not improving. Green sector for his middle one. We'll see if he can put together a fast sector 3 and try to put himself up on pole position. Trying to beat a 39.3 by Nate Sides. That's a respectable time. Gets him up in 3rd place with a 40. Patrick Cantrell on his 2nd lap. He's got all yellow sectors. I don't expect him to be doing any better. And no, it looks like he's heading into the pits. Gotta get your pit entry practice in. If you don't, that's caught me out a couple times in my racing career. You don't practice pit entry, you're gonna be screwed. James Shank in that green Omex Sim Racing Porsche livery. That is a new one I haven't seen yet, and I am loving it. Nick Tyrrell coming around for his 2nd lap. Good 1st sector, kind of okay 2nd sector. We'll see if he can pull it through for a 3rd one. What kind of time he can put on the board. And that's going to keep him there in last place with a 41.5. So we've got 2 cars left on track. We got Landon Orr and Sean Roberts out there trying to put in the time. I think this is Landon Orr's 2nd lap. Sean Roberts sitting in P4. I'm excited to see Sean Roberts. I have not seen him racing since season 3 in the TCR car, and now he is back in a GT3 car. That's a big difference. That's a big step up. Front wheel drive to rear wheel drive. We will see how he does here racing back with us again at OMEC Racing with that sketch livery Mercedes. I'm loving it. It's looking good. Unfortunately, our last 3 have not improved on their first 2 sectors. Well, I speak too soon. Nick Tyrrell's still on his 2nd sector. He does improve. We'll see if maybe he can sneak it away from Nate Sides at the last second, but so far it is looking like he has got P1 locked in. Our man Tyler Langberg is in the server, but has not set a time yet, which is a little disappointing. The Ford is usually very fast on the straights, so it'll be interesting to see how that Ford does tonight. He's been killing it all season. Sean Roberts into the wall. I'm not sure if doesn't know how to brake in a GT3 car, but I hope that's not foreshadowing. Tyler Langenberg is sitting down in 8th place, but he was not here for the first 2 races, and he had to miss last week at Okayama. So we do have 3 drop weeks in this season, so he's missed those 3 races, but as long as he shows up for the rest, he should still be good. But that's going to about wrap up qualifying, and we are looking to start 30 minutes of racing at Fuji tonight. It's sunrise. The grandstands are packed for these 10 OMAC drivers this evening. It's amazing. That hotel right there, full of spectators. Every room booked out. People have traveled for miles to come see the spectacle that is Osborne Motors Endurance Challenge. So here's our final look at the grid. First place, Nate Sides, our local man from Pennsylvania in that Team Rahal Porsche with a 139.36. Following up closely behind him, Patrick Cantrell, 7 tenths of a second off in P2, but he's going to have the inside line, still in a Porsche. He could get a good run and challenge Nate Sides for coming into turn 1. Pretty easy corner to dive on and try to make a move. Third place, Landon Ord, not in the Ferrari this evening. We'll see how that's going to affect him. Fourth place, Sean Roberts, TCR hero, looking to make his name in GT3, sitting there in 4th place. Newcomer Jason Shank in that Lamborghini. Why can't I see everyone? There I can. I'm on the right camera now. Man, I suck at this, huh? Anyways, Jason Shank in the Ferrari. He's not in a Ferrari. He's in a Porsche. But the other newcomer, Kevin Hayes, is in a Ferrari tonight, and I like to see it because he's the only one there in a Ferrari. He's sitting there in 6th place. And then we got Devin Adams in the Mercedes, as usual, back there in 4th place. And Nick Tyrrell, not on the grid yet, but in that black Lamborghini, is settling for 8th place. And then we have Tyler Langenberg. He did show up. There he is on the grid in that yellow and blue Ford GT. I'm going to have to fight Nick Tyrrell and Jeff McDonald at the back of the pack because Jeff McDonald is in last place. Looks like he didn't end up setting a time in qualifying, so he's going to be starting from the back of the grid. And that is your lineup for this 30-minute race at Fuji. Starting here, pace car will be pulling off in about 3 seconds. There's Nick Tyrrell jumping in the grid at the very last moment. He was probably getting a glass of water. I've raced with this guy at special events. He'll be sitting there, green light's coming up, and he'll make it back at the very last second, and he'll hop on the mic and say, sorry, I had to get a glass of water. But at least he's well hydrated, you know? That's what it takes. So here we go. Pace car's off. It's a short pace lap here at Fuji. And we are getting ready for some action that's going to be happening down this long straight coming down Fuji. I followed this pace car around this track, and it is a little painful on that long straight going pace car speed because it is such a long straight. And GT3 cars. Looks like the Porsche is pretty popular tonight. I'm pretty excited to see if Tyler Langenberg can make his way up the field. But here we are on the back straight, waiting for those lights to go green. Everyone's getting bunched up. We'll see who can take the jump. Nate Sides or Patrick Cantrell. I think we're going to see, hopefully, a lot of maybe 3-wide action going into turn 1. It's definitely wide enough. This is a big old track, and it can do it. There is that pace car peeling off into the pits. And here comes this group of cars coming up slowly up this massive Daytona-inspired straight, waiting for the green light. Everyone's bunched up. Everyone's ready to go. Hearts are beating out of their chests. They are ready to a crowd of adoring fans. And there's the green flag. And everyone's off. Looks like Nate Sides and Patrick Cantrell get kind of caught out there, and the 2 AMG Mercedes peeled off to the side of them. And we are 4 wide going down the main straight into turn 1. Everyone braking. And it looks like Landon Orr takes the lead on the inside, coming around the corner, 3 wide, now 2 wide, Nate Sides did not get the start he wanted, and Landon Orr is leading the field down to turn 3. This is that tricky, get the dab on the brakes. Going through there, and this is that big sweeper. I would not be surprised if we see someone lose it here. This takes a lot of patience and confidence to get right as we go through here, but everyone keeps it calm and cool like a bunch of professionals. Landon Orr still in the front. Nate Sides not going to let him have it that easy. Looks like he's going side by side up through the sweeping set of right-handers. Looks like Landon Orr's going to stay in front of him as they come up to the sharp right-hander into the chicane. Really easy to get your line wrong. There goes Landon Orr. Back end sliding out a little bit. That's going to compromise exit, and he's got Nate Sides all over the back of him in that Porsche. Followed closely by Devin Adams, who is tired of running in the back and is going to have his way at the front. He is going to fight someone. Looks like Patrick Cantrell has dropped down a ton of places. And oh no, there goes Devin Adams to the side, and Landon Orr and Nate Sides also spinning there on that tricky up-hand left corner. What an upset. P1, P2, and P3 all off in the same part of the track. Oh, and then we got another Ferrari. That looks like to be Jason Shank. No, Kevin Hayes in the Ferrari. What an upset. You usually don't see that kind of mistakes from our man Nate Sides. That was almost like they were doing a ballet dance together. But now we're here on the main straight. You see that draft. He's behind him. He's going to maybe look to make a move coming into turn 1, although I don't know if the confidence is going to be there after that. That was very surprising. It does look like Nate Sides is going to get that move made late on the brakes, but unfortunately too late. Looks like he does have some damage on the front right fender after that incident. Let's go back and take a look at that again. Let's see that from the perspective of our man Devin Adams here. This is that corner. It's super tricky. You get the weight balance wrong coming up this hill, and just like that, it's gone. Coming around here, looks like he just bumped that inside curb a little too much. And then maybe you give it a little too more brakes because you're trying to correct it, and just like that, there goes that back end. You can put in all that opposite lock you want to, and there is just no saving you once it's done. But Nate Sides up there. Did Nate Sides see if he maybe had some contact? We'll back it up. Almost looked like his front bumper made it. Oh, that did cause the contact by Nate Sides coming up to the back of Landon Orr. Just a little bit of a love tap. Landon Orr looks like he didn't get through there quick enough, and Nate Sides just bumps into him. Ruining both of their races, unfortunately. And let's see how Kevin Hayes got caught up in the mess as well. He comes up. Oh, yeah, getting around. Just hits that curb. And there goes his back end around. Just like that in one lap. And then it looks like, let's go back and see what we missed. Kevin Hayes went off the track again. Yeah, he hit those sausage curves. That is, again, one of the trickiest corners on the track. That's going to be causing drivers trouble in these whole 30 minutes. Let's see. We had Landon Orr crashed again. Let's see what happened. I'm going to bet it's that same corner. You really got to feather the brakes. You really got to get the balance right. And if you don't, it just swings around. Very unfortunate for Landon Orr. Let's go back to the live action. Up front, Sean Roberts, the TCR newcomer in his GT3 car, looking to take home first place, but he's got Tyler Langenberg all up on the back of him, has made it 7 places up the grid from all of that sideways car action, spinning out stuff. But it looks like we got some more. Devin Adams crashed. Let's see what happened. Coming out of the chicane. Coming out of the chicane. And the back end goes around and almost clips those Porsches coming up. Oh, just a little impatient on the rejoin there. Clips decided Jeff McDonald, but luckily he has some wizardry in the pit crew where they were able to just teleport a front bumper back onto the car. Beautiful. Looks like we got a pass from Kevin Hayes. Ooh, Landon Orr just running a little wide in that corner again, but instead of really smashing the brakes, trying to get that wheel turn and the back end spinning around, he kept it on the track. And now up front, we have this battle. Sean Roberts and Tyler Langenberg. Tyler Langenberg is going to be looking to take another podium today, but that Ford is probably going to be tricky to drive around here. Sean Roberts, former TCR driver, now turned GT3 Pro, up 3 places from his grid. He's got an angry Ford behind him and another angry Porsche behind him of Patrick Cantrell, who had a pretty poor start, but due to some crazy circumstances is back up in P3 looking at a good podium. That Ford is all over the back of that Mercedes coming through this chicane. And now up here, here's that tricky series of corners. The right-hander and the left-hander off camber, uphill. You got to keep it easy. You got to just be light on the inputs, feather the brake, feather the throttle, get it through there. And you really want a good exit here because you want to get the speed on that main straight. And Tyler Langenberg is all over the bumper of that Mercedes, looking to get a big old draft coming down this straight, hoping he can make the pass going down into turn 1. And there he goes, sunning up on the inside, hard on the brakes. Can Sean Roberts respond, take it around the inside? He doesn't. He backs off a little bit, goes for the old switcheroo and tries to send it up the inside of turn 2. Looks like they're neck and neck, side by side, going down here to turn 3. Tyler Langenberg's going to have a compromised line coming through here, and Sean Roberts is able to stick it on the outside, push him off to the side, and say, no, thank you. I am taking this first place tonight. He's going to come through this slow right-hander. When you're battling side by side, it takes a lot of concentration to keep the car on the track through there. Coming up this left hand here, turn 5, and Sean Roberts is able to keep it in front of our local hero, Tyler Langenberg. Coming down here through turn 7, 8, and 9, up to turn 10, that sharp right-hander into the hairpin. Awkward corner, honestly kind of ruins the flow, but it's tricky. You saw Tyler Langenberg get on those curbs there and just gets that back of that car loose, and then you got to fight it coming through here. You see it's wanting to fishtail around a little bit, and you got to ease it through. So if you don't have a good line through that chicane, it makes the rest of this series of corners tough. And if you're doing bad in these series of corners, then you're not close enough for this last corner, and you're not going to get the run you want on that straight. Patrick Cantrell running a little wide there on that last corner, looking to stay out of those sausage curbs. But here they are, hoping maybe they can get bunched up. Coming down the straight, and we're going to see if Tyler Langenberg is going to think about making another move coming down here into turn 1. It feels like it takes 20 years for them to get through this straight. Completely flat out. And it looks like he is not going to get close enough to take it away from that Mercedes. Amazing. Wonderful racing. Looks like we had a little action. Jeff McDonald passing Jason Shank. We'll see if there's anything there. Porsche v. Porsche. And looks like Jason Shank, the back end, just kind of came out from him, but kept it on the track instead of going in the grass. I love to see it. And Nate Sides got around him as well. Let's see how Landon Orr got around Kevin Hayes. Coming into what looks like turn 1, Kevin Hayes just ran wide on the outside, and Landon Orr took that opportunity to send it up the inside. And he's going to be looking to make some places back. He's down 5 spots from the start of the race, which was looking like a very promising race. He had a wonderful start, and for some very bad luck, finds himself back in P9. Last place. So we still got Sean Roberts in front, Tyler Langenberg. We have Patrick Cantrell, 3rd place. Oh no, Tyler Langenberg is out just as I'm saying that. Goodness. Let's take a look. Coming around that corner, back end just comes out. Maybe hits that curb a little too much. That exit curb. That exit curb. Ooh, and he gets it stopped just in time. No damage. I'll call that a win. Gets it spun out there. Not too bad of a rejoin, but Jeff McDonald and maybe Nate Sides are going to be looking to get around him, but he's going to keep Nate Sides behind him and keep it going. That puts him all the way back in 5th place. Wow. So now we have Patrick Cantrell back in P2 where he thought he would be. It's not even an endurance race, it's a sprint race, but I guess shit still happens. So that's Patrick Cantrell in P2. I thought that was him spinning. I thought he was going to spin. Behind him, 5 seconds behind him, basically running his own race. Pretty quiet tonight. Nick Tyrrell. In that black Lamborghini, I think he might have switched up the paint a little bit. Or I've just never noticed it. But now he's got some green stuff going on in there. He's got a little bit of swoopies in there, like some kind of stealthy cop car. I love it. But behind him, he's got Jeff McDonald, who started in last place, and just out of pure attrition is up to 4th. So he's just going to be looking to hold it together. But Nick Terrell and Jeff McDonald are going to be fighting off Tyler Langdenberg and Nate Sides. And it does look like Nate Sides is closing in on the back of that Ford. He's not going to be happy about the start of this race, and he is looking for vengeance. So he's going to be all over that Ford. It looks like he might have had a good exit. He's still got a little bit of damage on that front of his car, so that could be slowing him down on the straights. But he's going to try to get stuck in the draft of that Ford and maybe be looking to make a move coming into turn 1. Only 3/10 behind and gaining with that draft, 2/10. Does he make a move? He doesn't. He stays behind. I think he is just biding his time. Car might be driving a little loose after that damage, but he's going to see. The cars do have half-tank fuel on these sprint races, which should be enough for 30 minutes of racing, but on a track like Fuji, where you are just full throttle for so long, you never know. If you're hard on the gas, you might not make it 30 minutes without having to pit. So fuel saving might be a strategy, but Nathan Sides sends it up the inside. Tyler Langdenberg says, no thanks, bud. Gives him a tap on the side and puts him back where he thinks he belongs. Let's take a look at that again. Let's see if we can get a different angle on this. Someday I'm going to figure out how to do this in a much cleaner way, but we're going to do a chase view. Let's hit play. We're coming through these. Oh, yeah, it's this tricky corner. It looks like Tyler Langberg got a little loose. Nate Side says, I'm going to set it up on the inside. And I got on the brakes a little too late and couldn't really get it turned in. Yeah, I'm going to say that's just a racing incident. Luckily, they didn't take themselves both out. It was a pretty, what am I trying to say, optimistic move. Didn't quite work out for him. But now he went from 2/10 away to 1.3 seconds away, and he's got all that work to make up again. Behind him, we got Jason Shank, newcomer to the series, looking to make a name for himself. He's down 2 spots from qualifying, had a little bit of bad luck there at the beginning of the race, but he is just putting his time. There's still a lot of time for anything to happen. We got 16 minutes of racing left. 4 seconds behind Nate Sides. If he just keeps his head down and keeps racing, he should be able to catch up to them no problem, I think. Because I think if Sides and Langberg keep fighting, that's definitely plenty of opportunity for him to make up some ground. Behind him, another newcomer, Kevin Hayes. Has had some bad luck. A couple of spins. Pretty spiffy looking pink and black Ferrari there. He's 11 seconds off the back of Shank, but 5 seconds in front of Orr. So even though he's had some bad luck tonight, he is still ahead of one of our OMEC veterans. 5.5 seconds ahead, so I would call that a win. And then we got Devin Adams. Looks like he has retired to the pits. Hopefully we will see him in the next sprint race. Maybe we'll get him for an interview after this race. I don't know. We will see. Nope, that's one. But it looks like Nate Sides is past Tyler Langenberg again. Ooh, Tyler Langenberg gets loose going up that left-hander before the main straight. That's all it takes. Just a little bit. Gets a little loose, and all of a sudden, you got a Porsche passing you. These two have been fighting all night. Nate Sides thought he was going to be fighting with Landon Orr all night until he had that unfortunate incident. But now he's got Tyler Langenberg coming up behind him. Is Tyler Langenberg going to make a move into turn one? He's not. He's going to stay behind him. Let's go on board with Tyler Langenberg. Let's see what it looks at with the driver's eye view here. That's not who I want. This is who I want. Tyler Langenberg in that 4, taking out that cone, getting all up in the back of that Sim Magic Porsche. You can hear how much you have to just manage the throttle. Coming into this left-hand corner, that's a lot of understeer in that Ford, really scrubbing off the speed, allowing Nate Sides to just kind of pull away from him. And now we're coming through these 3 right-hand sweepers up to this sharp right-hander here, called Dunlap Corner, into the chicane. Getting ready for this tricky set of corners, turns 13, 14, 15, and 16. Right here, you really just gotta feather it through second gear. You see that back end wanting to swing around, got a little bit of opposite lock in there to correct it. And if you notice, you can't really see anything from the left there, but the Ford is just loose all over the place. He's having a little trouble keeping that back end in check. Then you gotta get it around. It looks like Nate Sides has a pretty bad line to that corner and a bad exit. We'll see if this is enough for Tyler Langenberg to make up some ground on this absolutely massive straight. Coming through here, past the grandstands, past the pit lane, looking to get in the draft to Nate Sides. He's 4/10 and closing. I don't know if he'll have enough time. It's not going to be close enough for him to make a move. Unfortunately, we don't have DRS here in these GT3 cars. He looks like he's going to stay behind him and look for another opportunity on this lap as he comes through turn 1. If we go on board with Nate Sides, you can see you get that lovely backup camera of a screen to stare at the entire time as you feather through this. So you got the headlights of that Ford behind you, making you think about your corner exits. If you don't get him right, he's going to be there ready to pass you. Back at the front of the pack in the AMG is still our man Sean Roberts. Not sure if this is his debut race this season. Let me look in the standings here. Looks like he showed up last week and he scored 70 points at Okayama, which is 4th place, I think. So, yep. He showed up last week, got 4th place at Okayama, and now he's here at Fuji. Maybe this man is just really into Japanese tracks, because here he is, 1st place, 1.6 seconds ahead of our veteran Patrick Cantrell in that OMEC Porsche, looking to take his first win of OMEC Season 4. He's out there. He's had a clean race, 0 incidents, taking his time, up 3 places from qualifying. He is the picture of patience in that Mercedes. Beautiful driving. Behind him, Patrick Cantrell. Again, clean race, no wrecks. As usual, I would expect nothing less. No one doesn't have Bob to battle tonight, so his seat on the team is safe for now. But next week when they show back up, there will be a little more competition. We got Nick Tyrrell, still in 3rd place. He's got Jeff McDonald's in that Ninja Botanicals Porsche, creeping up on him ever so slightly. He's only 3/10 behind him. We'll see if. Oh, looks like he's going to try to send a move coming up. Oh, that was a little. Oh, there's those sausage curves. If you hit them, that's what happens. The front of your car pops up. kind of bullied his way in there, and Nick Tyrrell's gonna try to get a good exit coming out of this corner, but I don't think that is not the exit he wanted. You can see that Porsche just pulling away. Let's take a look at that from another angle. Terrible. He's getting there, I promise. Jeff McDonald sent it up on the inside. Nick Tyrrell takes that wide line, and Jeff McDonald's able to take it there. Doesn't quite make the corner too good. Doesn't leave Nick Tyrrell much space, but you can see there. Look at that. Look at that Lamborghini hop in the air when you hit those curbs. That's what happens. That's what happens when you hit those sausage curbs. You take off. That's terrible on the car. So you really don't want to hit those. Those are everywhere. They're like landmines at this track. But Nick Tyrrell's not going to be happy about that, but Jeff McDonald is going to be happy about that because that's going to put him in a podium. And now that Jeff McDonald has gotten by, he is going to have a probably impatient Nate Sides looking to make his way back into the podium as well, coming up behind him. And we're going to leave you on this action for just a moment while I step away. I will be right back. All right, we are back. Sorry about that. Looks like Nate Sides not quite able to close that gap. I was thinking when I got back to my computer that he was going to have that done, but doesn't look like it. So it looks like we still got our man Sean Roberts in P1. About 5.5 minutes of racing left. Of course, anything could happen, but as long as he keeps it together, he's got it locked down. Patrick Cantrell in P2. Damage-free car, 0 incidents. Also, looks like he's got a podium locked down. And behind him, Jeff McDonald, who has stolen the fastest lap from Nate Sides. Looking to get a podium. Looking to get fastest lap. Looking to keep it together. Behind him, Nick Tyrrell in that black Lamborghini at P4. Oh my goodness. There he goes into the wall. That is unfortunate. And also it says Tyler Langdenberg has crashed behind him. Let's see what happened there as well. Did he get spooked coming out of the corner? He does have some damage from that contact with Nate Sides earlier on. But he also just loses it on that corner. These cars are so loose on this track here tonight. He just does a donut and gets it turned around. Did not have the same kind of damage Nick Tyrrell had. Well, it looks like Nate Sides didn't have to have that fight after all. That curb is a killer. Man, your tire just touches that and you are gone. We should have the stewards look at that. There might need to be some remodeling. And unfortunately, it looks like that has sent Nick Tyrrell into the pit lane for his fast repair, and he's back on track. Can he stay ahead of Landon Orr? Coming down the final straight, it looked like he had resigned himself to last place, but he kept it in there, and now quickly closing the gap to Nick Tyrrell. Where's Nick Tyrrell at on the track? Just coming around turn one, and Landon Orr also coming around turn one. Maybe he's got 3.5 minutes left to make something happen. We'll see what he can do. But unfortunately, that puts Nick down in 8th place, back where he qualified. Anything can happen in racing. A second like that, snap your fingers, it's all gone. Tyler Langdenberg also spun, having a hard time making his way back up. No P1 for him today. Hits those sausage curves, popped the front of that Ford off the ground. Those tires could be getting a little loose. Cars could be getting looser, a little bit of lax concentration. But that Ford is not having a happy day out there. It is having a pretty rough time as he comes on that final straight in 5th place. But that let Nate Sides get back up to 4th. Unfortunately, 3 places down from where he qualified. Not going to be his most happy race this season. With about 2.5 minutes left of racing, we'll see if there's any more crazy action. It seems like every time I go to someone, it's a broadcaster curse. They put it in the wall. So we'll see if Sean Roberts can hold it together. I'm not expecting much to happen because he has held it together this entire time. Honestly, this music's pretty fitting. It's kind of some epic, I don't know, 80s synthy music to take Sean Roberts home. This is fitting for him right now. The trials and tribulations. In the end, all it takes is patience, some clean driving, and a little bit of speed. And you too can take it home in 1st place. And just like that, there's your checkered flag. There's Sean Roberts across the line in P1. P2, we got Patrick Cantrell across the line. Jeff McDonald following him, flashing those lights on P3. He's going to be happy with that one. Nate Sides, a little bit of an unfortunate turnout for him. He's probably going to be hit himself a little bit, but still up there in P4, pretty respectable. Tyler Langenberg, rough day for him today. He started a lot of highs, a lot of lows. He started in the back, made his way all the way back up to the front, and ended mid-pack. Our newcomers, Jason Shank and Kevin Hayes, crossing the line in 6th and 7th. Behind them, Nick Terrell and that black Lamborghini, unfortunately, found the barrier there at the end. And then behind him, our veteran, Landon Orr, still bringing up the rear. Hopefully, with no front bumper. Landon Orr, let's see what happened to Landon Orr. On the final lap, heartbreaking moment for Landon Orr. Coming up that fast left-hander, takes that exact spot. Takes that curb. That curb kills everyone. Nicked his tire over the edge. Unfortunate. Landon Orr. Let's see if we can get P1 and P2 possibly in the booth for a quick interview before the next race starts. Please stand by. Now it looks like we do have Patrick Cantrell in the waiting room. P2. Let's talk to him. Patrick Cantrell, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good.
How was that race for you? It kind of seems pretty uneventful. Everyone was crashing around you, but you just kind of kept it cool.
Yeah, mid-race I kind of realized I wasn't going to be able to catch Sean, and I figured if I pushed too hard I'd probably just make a mistake myself, either hitting a curb like Tyler or spinning in the last sector, so I just kind of settled in and happy for second.
Yeah, that was definitely a good turnout. Those curbs were killing people left and right tonight. And all that action, looks like you and Nate kind of had a bad start there. The two Mercedes really got around you there on that beginning straight.
Yeah, we definitely got swallowed up. I always anticipate some drama on lap one, so I just tried to stay out of it, and it seemed like it worked out.
All right, awesome. Well, are you excited for this next layout of Suzuka, or are you going to hate it?
I actually am. I raced there last season. I don't know if it was the exact layout, but in the GR86, and it was fun.
Awesome. All right, well, hopefully we'll be talking to you next race.
All right, see ya.
And our race winner, Sean Roberts. You raced with us a lot in Season 3 in the TCR cars, and now you're back in the GT3. How's it feel to come P1 in that race?
Oh, I've been racing the GT3 for a while. I've been doing the IMSA official, so I'm very one with this Mercedes at this point.
Is this the Mercedes you're going to be running in the 8 hours this weekend?
Sadly, I can't race this week. I'm not going to be racing this weekend. I got work, so.
Well, that was unfortunate. Well, that was a pretty good race. Kept it out of trouble, kept it clean, and that got you first place.
Yeah, well, it wasn't all sunshine in that race. She was definitely that second to last corner was definitely getting caught a lot of guys out apparently.
Yeah, that was killing people left and right when they get on that curb. But these setups are pretty loose at this track. I drove it a little bit at noon today on my lunch break, and it was not an easy track for the drivers out there.
Yeah, I did an IMSA here a few weeks ago, and the car feels completely different. So I don't know if it's just with how different the cars are set up. So that's some data I'm gonna look at later just to see what the difference is. Because I was like 2.5 seconds faster in this race than I was in the IMSA race.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Are you excited for the Suzuka West layout?
It's a very interesting layout. The chicane definitely throws a monkey wrench into it.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm excited to see it. Well, congratulations on your win. Hopefully, we'll see you back in the booth next race.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how many people are brave to go flat out through 240.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to find out. Thanks.
All right. Yep.
And that was Sean Roberts, everyone. And we will be back in about 15 minutes for the next race at Suzuka. So stay right where you are. We'll be back. All right, everybody, welcome back to Suzuka, the West layout. It's going to be a fun track. You've been watching Devin Adams in the McLaren constantly put it in the wall every single lap. He's already up to 21 incidents. Landon Orr also up to 11 incidents in that Osborne Motors Ferrari. Looks like they're having a car meetup out there in the grass. Devin Adams, Landon Orr, and Patrick Cantrell in the Porsche. It's going to be a trio of menaces out there on the track tonight. I'm not sure what's happening. The cars are glitching into each other. There's a little bit of reality breaking. Cats on my desk. I don't know. That McLaren do be looking nice, though, shooting those flames. Tyler Langdenberg back up in pole position, though, in practice, so this should be a good race. That was 20 minutes of practice, and we are going to be starting our 10 minutes of qualifying. Everyone has 2 laps, I believe, to go out there and set the quickest time. You think I would know the correct number of laps, but I don't. And we're on board with Landon Orr in the Ferrari, just starting his outlap on what I think is probably the most dangerous pit exit in existence. That immediately leads into one of the best corners on any racetrack in existence. It's going to be a fun night. But this is our second track tonight for our doubleheader in Japan. This is Suzuka, the West layout. This is a 2.1 mile stretch, a 2.1 mile abomination. We'll get this track map up there. Look at that track. It's got a face only a mother could love. It's got a chicane in a weird spot. It's got a hairpin that's much too small for any GT3 car. And it's going to be a good time. It's a 72-degree day. And we have a track temperature of 107 degrees. It's going to be a slippery track. The cars still are on their medium downforce setup. And they do only have a half tank of fuel, but they should easily be able to make it this track. It is pretty small. There's a lot of off-throttle moments. But we can go on board here with Landon Orr, who will be the first one to set a time. If I can get the right layout. There it is. This is Landon Orr starting his qualifying lap. Around that corner, I should have a track map. I do. That was 130R into this really strange hairpin here to skip the big flowy part of the track that leads you directly into Degner 1 and 2. Very famous set of corners. Quick right-hander, and then into that a little slower right-hander. Really want to take that camber around the corner. I'll ride that curve on the outside, and that's going to bring you up to the hairpin. The tricky low-speed first gear corner. Really easy to understeer and burn up the tires on that one. And that will take you on to 130R usually, but instead we have the motorcycle chicane that you must navigate, which is pretty awkward. And then you are back onto 130R. Just kidding, you're back onto 200R, which is leading up to Spoon Curve, which you aren't taking as fast as you usually take because you've just navigated that weirdo chicane. So it is a little bit of a different corner, and then you are here on the back stretch, which is now the front stretch of this track, and we'll see what kind of time Landon Orr can put down. He puts down a 119.7, which is not good enough for first place. You have Patrick Cantrell in second place at a 119.2, and Jeff McDonald slaps pole position at a 118.5. Newcomer Kevin Hayes doing a little better on this track, puts it in second place with a 119.1. And there goes Landon Orr into the wall on Degner 2. I think we're going to see a lot of off-the-track action tonight. They do still only have one fast repair, so if they burn that up on the first lap, it's going to be a long 30 minutes. looks like Landon Orr's just back in the pits. Don't know if he's given up his will to live. We'll find out later. Devin Adams, the camera was on him for our practice session. He was having a rough time out there. Instead of the Mercedes, he's traded in those keys for a nice, shiny, red, flame-spitting McLaren. We will see what kind of time he can put in, if he can put in a time. Jeff McDonald is on his second lap, but it looks like he's not going to have any improvements. That's all yellow sectors, but who's having some nice purple sectors is our man Tyler Langenberg, who is on, just finished his first lap, and he is off almost into the wall, ending up getting into the wall. Really scrunched the nose up of that Ford. Unfortunate. That's gonna invalidate his second lap, but he did have enough to put it on pole with a 118.5, but not enough to take the crown away from Jeff McDonald with that 118.2. He's still holding out there in third place, and Sides back down to fourth place, but this is a pretty tight grid so far. There is less than a second separating the top 7 drivers. And with this small of a track with that very weird turn 2, that's going to throw a lot of people off. And there's Tyler Langenberg going through the cones, not given a single care in the world about that chicane, blowing through the grass on Spoon Curve and into the tire barrier to take care of his spoiler. And I think that sums up the feelings of what most people think about this track. We got about 4 minutes left of qualifying. Still 3 people out on track. Nick Terrell, 2 purple sectors. Don't know why I'm on the scene camera. TV1, there he goes across the line. Can he put in a time to take up the first place? He can't. That's a 119.4, and that is just good enough for P6. One last man out on the track. Chris Kraus was not with us for Fuji. Couldn't make the first race, but he's here for the second race. And looking to make a name for himself. Looking to take it home. P1 in that Mercedes. He's had a lot of bad luck these past races. But this might just be the oddball track that he can excel at. Although it looks like he's had an off track on those quali laps, so he has yet to put it in a time. This is his last chance. Hopefully he can keep it together and put a time up on the board. Sean Roberts, P1 in Fuji. Yet to put in a time here at Suzuka. Looks like he just started. He's got 2 green sectors. Not looking too bad. He's navigated that weird chicane. Coming through 200R, coming up to the legendary Spoon Curve. We saw him in the last race. He was very calm and collected. Kept his stuff together. And here he is coming up the back stretch, which is the main stretch, to put in a quali time. We'll see where he stacks up on our leaderboard. Unfortunately, no time. Ended up with an off track and an invalidated lap, and he is still sitting down there in last place. Looks like Chris Kraus is on another lap. Give him another try. We'll see if he can put in the time. And that is good enough for 8th place, 120.6. Still a very close grid. We got McDonald, Langenberg, Hayes, and Sides within 0.6 of a second of each other. Cantrell, Terrell, and Orr in 5th, 6th, and 7th, 1 second off the leader. And Devin Adams was able to get in a time just a mere 20 seconds off the leader. I don't see how that will be problematic in any way whatsoever. Sean Roberts coming across the line, looking to put in a time, and that slaps up a P2. Just 0.2 off our leader, Jeff McDonald, with a 118.5. And we still have Jason Shanks out there, newcomer this week, still on the track, looking to put in a time. Right now sitting in P10 with a 121.0. Looks like Jeff McDonald's still out there on the track, but he has that first place locked down by a full 0.2 of a second. And just like that, that 10 minutes is up. The cars disappear into the void. And we have 2 minutes for everyone to get out on the grid and to get this race started. And this is our lineup for this 30-minute race here at Suzuka, the West Circuit. First place, Jeff McDonald. Just inching it out 0.2 over second place, Sean Roberts, who's looking to take home another, hopefully first place, if not podium, at the second sprint race of this week. Third place, Tyler Langenberg in that Ford. Must be struggling a little bit at this track. Fourth place, newcomer Kevin Hayes. Only 0.4 off the leader, looking to make a name for himself. Fifth place, Nate Sides from Pennsylvania, our OMEC veteran. Side by side on the grid with our other OMEC veteran, Patrick Cantrell. There's going to be a lot of action coming up into turn one here. P7, Nick Tyrrell in that black Lamborghini, side by side with Landon Orr. Bringing up the back in 9, 10, 11, we have Chris Kraus, Jason Shank, and Devin Adams. Devin Adams and Chris Kraus usually have a good time being a couple wrecking balls in the back, but we're going to see what will happen. It is a full pace lap here at Suzuka West, which honestly I think is a good thing. Turn one is going to be the extremely fast 130R. It's going to be interesting. Leading into the crazy hairpin, I feel like we're probably going to see some carnage. But until then, we do have a full, very slow pace lap. Everyone, Devin Adams back there really weaving around, gonna get those tires warmed up. He's looking to shoot through that pack and win the race on turn one, and I believe in him. This hairpin here really cuts the flow of the track. That's usually where you go into the Casio triangle, the kind of well-known corner, into the big long sweeper, but instead they cut it off about 50 feet short, and you just have two really awkward 90-degree corners leading you on to the final corner between the two Dagners. I ran a couple laps of this track earlier today in the BMW, which no one seemed to race tonight, and it was all right once you got it down. There's Devin Adams back there, already 1X before the race has even started, and honestly, that is impressive. Luckily for him, it's a sprint weekend, and you don't get bonus points for 0Xs, only for the fastest lap, but if he's not careful, he's going to have a drive-through penalty before the race even starts. I do think, though, the McLaren is one of the best sounding cars on the grid, but we go on board with Devin Adams really getting those tires warmed up back there. He's probably going to use about 10% of his tires before the race even starts. Pace car is finally coming through Spoon. And the second that pace car peels off, it's already going to be ready for green light racing.
Green flag, green flag.
Robert Jeff McDonald, green flag goes before the pace car even has a chance to get into the pit lane. That is definitely going to cause some chaos. Everyone's going to be bunched up. We're coming up to 130R. Looks like Sean Roberts gets ahead of Jeff McDonald's. Everyone goes through turn 1. No incident yet. Coming up to this very awkward hairpin. Everyone has to navigate 2 quick right-hand corners. Looks like everyone is keeping it calm. The Ferrari got in a little bit of that Ford's back bumper, but everyone's keeping it cool, keeping it collected, and it looks like we do have Devin Adams and Chris Kraus going off track. Let's see what happened here at the back of the field. Devin Adams on the back of Chris Kraus. A little bit of a pit maneuver there, and they're both off the track, but they're both back on the track with no damage. Pretty on brand. Hopefully they can keep it together for the rest of the race and try not to ruin themselves. Looks like Jeff McDonald, we do have an issue. Let's see what happened. Jeff McDonald went off track. Here's the replay. Why would you go to that camera? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, I don't know if he lost some connection. That was strange. He might have lost some connection. Put it in the wall, but he's back on the track. Bypassed the chicane. And we have Sean Roberts still leading the front of the pack. Was able to stick it in front of Tyler Langenberg in that Ford and keep it together. Even as the fastest lap of the 126.1, we do have a bonus point for the fastest lap. And we do have Devin Adams off the track again and into the pit lane. Ooh, just lost it. Coming down a Spoon, and there is the front of that McLaren gone. He is not going to be happy tonight. Alright, sorry for that interruption. Had a little emergency phone call there. Looks like Devin Adams is back on the track in last place. He took that fast repair. Let's see what we missed. Looks like Jason Shank crashed. We'll take a look and see what happened. And that snazzy looking Omac Porsche coming through 130R. Back end looks like it gets a little loose. Maybe there's some contact with Chris Kraus coming up here to the hairpin. Ooh, gets on the brakes a ton, looking to let Chris Kraus go through. I think that's why it said that he crashed, because he was going super slow, but he, in fact, did not crash. Got some connection issues here. Well, anyways, let's go back live to the action, except Devin Adams went off track again. Oh no. He lost it before he even got to the hairpin. That's unfortunate. Is he gonna get it back on track? He's thinking about it. He's thinking about driving through the grass for a little bit. I'm not sure. We'll check back in with Devin Adams later. Let's go back live. Sean Roberts won the last sprint. Looking like he's going to come home with another win here. He's already at 2.3 seconds ahead of P2. Looks like he's keeping it clean. Calm, cool, and collected. And P2, Kevin Hayes, had a lot of bad luck last race, but looks like he's kept it together this race. He's sitting here in P2, up 2 spots from his grid. Hoping he can keep it together. It looks like we have Nate Sides crash, so let's take a look. Coming up the back stretch, going up to 130R, gonna really catch you out, and there's that Porsche with a slide. Almost kept it, almost looking like Tokyo Drift style going through there, but in the end, puts it in the wall. Gonna be really unhappy with that. That car is doglegging to the right like crazy, and then we have Nick Terrell crash. Let's see what happened. Oh no, that hairpin really caught him up. Landon Orr was on the inside, and I'm not sure if he turned in like he wasn't there, or there's just not enough room for 2 cars to go through there. Let's see if we can get a better angle at that. Landon Orr sending it up on the inside. Didn't get turned in quite early, but I think might have left him a little room. That's definitely going to be a racing incident for sure. Nate Sides jumped to the pits. Is he going to take that fast repair and get back on the track? I don't think so, unless he forgot to check the fast repair, which is definitely a possibility. Track is causing carnage already. Kevin Hayes managing to stay in second place, but he has Patrick Cantrell in that Omeg Porsche hunting him down, but Patrick Cantrell has his own problems to worry about because he's got Tyler Langenberg in that Ford behind him, looking to make his way back up into a podium after that poor race at Fuji. We're going to go on board with Tyler Langenberg with that Ford. This is that very weird chicane before coming up through 200R. Got to make your way through there. Kevin Hayes in the Ferrari gets it loose, and that lets Patrick Cantrell and the Porsche get around him, and Tyler Langenberg is going to follow him right past in that draft as they come up into Spoon. Kevin Hayes is going to be on the inside. Ooh, pushes Tyler off, almost off the track a little bit, leaves barely just enough room, but runs a little wide on the exit of Spoon there, and that is going to let Patrick go around in the end. He's going to be a little bit behind Patrick Cantrell, but happy that he did not go into the wall. And it looks like Nate Sides did leave the pit lane, and he is back out on track, hoping to make his way back up. Let's take a look at that pass one more time. Kevin Hayes holds it on the inside, tries to turn in, probably could have left a little bit more room. Tyler Langenberg is flashing those headlights. He's not very happy about it, but Kevin Hayes is not able to keep that line, and that lets Tyler Langenberg past him easy peasy. Got an off track with Landon Orr. Check in on him, just touching the grass a little bit before coming into 130R over that curb, but luckily it did not spin it around, keeping it together. He's got Nick Terrell behind him in that black Lamborghini. He's going to be looking for revenge after that hairpin, and he's catching up with him. Let's go on board with Nick Terrell. Going through Degna 1, now down into Degna 2. Looking to get a good exit. You really want to hit that camber there and carry the car through. Coming up to the hairpin, there's a whole train of cars here. This is where you would normally get a nice run heading into Spoon, but there's a nice chicane for everyone to navigate. looking to get a good exit off that. The screaming V10 of that Lamborghini. And unfortunately, we weren't live that entire time because I am terrible at my job. Let's see what happened to Landon Moore. Nope, not that one. This one. That's the same one, game. I don't know what you want from me. Out front, we still have Sean Roberts still pulling a gap up to 3 seconds. And just as I say that, the back end goes loose on him. He puts it in the grass, and there goes Patrick Cantrell and the Porsche around him for first place. And now he's got Tyler Langenberg behind him in the Ford coming up. Looks like they're going to make it too wide. Coming through 130 yard. Nope, Tyler Langenberg gets in front of him. And then Kevin Hayes also looking to make some ground, but he's not going to get there in time. Unfortunate for Sean Roberts. That's all it takes. One small mistake, and your comfortable 3-second lead is gone. Looks like we had Jason Shank crash. We'll take a look. And that green OMAC Porsche coming around Spoon, the second part of Spoon, and there it is. The exact same place that Sean Roberts just went off into the grass. Unfortunate. But that's how it goes. Nate Sides, we got crashes all night. Nate Sides off the track again. Let's see that crash. Coming through Degna 1, up on the curbs, going into Degna 2, and there goes the back end of that Porsche through Degna 2. Keeps it out of the wall. We'll see if he can rejoin safely on the track without taking anyone out. He does. Unfortunate spin, but he's still in the race. Patrick Cantrell now sitting in first place. We'll go back to the live view. I won't forget it this time. Now Sean Roberts, Patrick Cantrell sitting in first place, only 0.5 seconds ahead of Tyler Langenberg, but hoping to get his first ever win in OMAC Season 4 in the GT3 cars. He's been chasing it a long time, and it just never, the stars have never quite aligned for him to make that happen. But he's got about 16 minutes of keeping that Ford behind him. As long as he can keep his cool, keep it together, he can make it happen tonight. Tyler Langenberg behind him did set the fastest lap, a 1:18.395. He is not messing around. He's looking to take back first place, definitely after that poor race in Fuji. Ooh, Tyler Langenberg going wide on Spoon. Pushing just a little bit too hard to keep up with that Porsche. Coming through 130R. That is a very fast corner. If you got the right downforce setup, it's almost full throttle through there, but with this medium downforce setting, you definitely got to let off a little bit. He's right all over the back of that Porsche, coming through that hairpin. Looks like we got Chris Kraus going off track. We'll see if there's anything major. And there it is. The exit of Spoon claims another Mercedes. They kept it out of the wall. He's still in the race. You love to see it. Back up here for the fight for first place. Tyler Langenberg is not giving Patrick Cantrell any breathing room. He has extended the gap, maybe a tenth, but he's still right there. That Ford is still in the mirrors of that Porsche. Get on board with the gyro cam here with Patrick Cantrell. We're going up the back straight. You can hear that curb scraping against the bottom of the car. We're going to come up here to 130R. It's just going to be a little bit of let off the throttle, maybe a dab of brake. And he's back on it. Oh, and he loses it into the wall. Oh my goodness. He flipped the shit out of that car. Sent him right back to the pits. That was terrifying. Let's take a look at that again. Oh man, he hit that so hard it just, the car disappeared. Can we go back? Just the back end got loose on that Porsche. Oh, unfortunately, sent into the shadow realm. We also had Kevin Hayes going off the track. We'll see if it was as dramatic. Not too bad, going off in Degna 2, but kept it on the track. Nate Sides entered the pit lane. Maybe a drive-through. Plenty of cars in the pit lane though, and he's back out. That's, if he did get a drive-through, that is the shortest drive-through ever. Oh yeah, Nate Sides 11X probably did get a drive-through. We're definitely gonna be seeing some shakeups. Unfortunate. That was Patrick Cantrell chasing his first win in the GT3 season of OMAC, and just like that, it all slips away from you. And we are back to Tyler Langenberg in first place in that Ford, keeping it out of the wall, keeping it on the track. This is really just a race of attrition. We have about 14 and a half minutes left to go. Anything could happen on a very exciting track. We definitely have some other people like Landon Orr already up to 9 incidents. Drive-throughs are definitely possible. I'm going to leave you here with this action and take a short break. We'll be right back. All right, folks, we are back for the last 8 minutes of this race, and just as I sat back down, I see it looks like Landon Orr passed Nick Tyrrell, and then Nick Tyrrell crashed. We'll see what happened. Whoa, coming through Degna 2. There was a backwards Lamborghini there. Let's see. Here comes Nick Tyrrell coming through Degna 1. Just gets a little loose and then comes over those curbs and spins it around 180 in the middle of the track. Everyone has to dodge him, and he's lucky to get out of that with no damage. Unfortunately, lost quite a few positions, but Jeff McDonald got around him. That puts Jeff McDonald up into P5, and also with the fastest lap, sitting at 8x. 8 incidents. Landon Orr sitting at 10 incidents. I believe there's just a couple more before he has to do a drive-through. A tricky track for everyone tonight. Definitely coming through Degna 1, coming through Degna 2. Keeping it together. Probably looking to get himself a podium tonight. Chris Kraus tonight, still keeping it together. Fairly undamaged car, only 7x. He has Nate Sides behind him, but Nate Sides, unfortunately, is a lap down. You can see the back end of that Mercedes kind of swinging around, coming through Degna 2. Degna 1, Degna 2 gets a little wide and lets Nate Sides around him. Looking to maybe try to unlap himself in these 6 minutes. Nothing is impossible. Patrick Cantrell, the man who was once riding high in first place, is now... Oh no. The second I switch to him, loses the back of it into the wall. There goes the front bumper from P1 to possibly last place with a very broken car. That is a story of heartbreak. And also Chris Kraus, as I was just saying, he was doing good, keeping it damage free. Gets loose coming out of the chicane and into the wall with this beautiful camera view, so he missed all of the action. And there is a Mercedes without a bumper. Unfortunate. This track definitely a race of attrition. We got some crazy things happening. What isn't crazy is Tyler Langberg still in first place. Following closely behind, Sean Roberts. You heard the interview with him at Fuji. He's just looking to keep it clean. Knows that if he tries to push too hard to keep up, that he's going to be making some mistakes and he's going to end up in the wall like most of these other people. Newcomer Kevin Hayes still holding out in P3. Tyler Langberg off track. No longer in P1. Loses it in 130R. Miraculously keeps it out of the wall. It's passed by Sean Roberts and is now put into P2. Has Kevin Hayes behind him. If Kevin Hayes plays his card right, very possible to have a P2 if he can get that draft coming down the straight. It does look like Kevin Hayes is all over the back bumper of that Ford, trying to get up in P2. We got Chris Kraus entering the pit lane for that track limit drive-through penalty. Luckily, it's only a 6-second drive-through, so not too big of a penalty at this track. And there it goes. We were talking with Sean in the interview in Fuji. He told me he doesn't have the pace to keep up, but he's just going to try to keep it clean because it's a track where a lot of people can wreck. And now, all of a sudden, Langdenberg is 4.5 seconds behind Sean Roberts. There's only 3.5 minutes left of the race, and all Sean has to do is just keep it clean, keep it smooth, and come home with a second win in the GT3 class here at the season. Tyler Langdenberg sitting there in P2. He's got a lot of work to make up. Don't know if he can close a 4.5 second gap in 3 minutes, but he's going to be trying his hardest. Kevin Hayes behind him in P3. Looks like he was trying to keep up with Tyler Langenberg, but he is just making that gap wider and wider. Got 1.1 seconds behind Tyler Langenberg. He's got Landon Orr 2.9 seconds behind him, so he's got a little pressure from behind him, but not much. If he can just keep it together, he's going to be coming home with his first podium here at OMEC. Landon Orr behind him in that OMEC Ferrari at 11X, had a little bit of a drive-through, but still holding out at 4th place. Going a little wide there in Spoon, trying to keep it together. Back end of that Ferrari, it does look like it's going to be a handful. Behind him, Jeff McDonald, who was qualified P2. He's down 4 spots. He's in P5 right now. Probably looking to try to get around Jeff Orr at the end of this. Looks like something may have happened to Tyler Langenberg. Hayes was closing the gap there, only 0.3 of a second. He's still trying. He's trying his best. He's going to make it happen. He wants that P2. You can feel it. There's only a minute and a half left. He's looking for the smallest slip up of Tyler Langenberg to make it happen. Behind Jeff McDonald is Nick Tyrrell in 6th place in that black Lamborghini. Not a super impressive weekend for Nick Tyrrell, but he's scoring some points. He's out there doing his best. 3.5 seconds off McDonald. McDonald closing the gap to Orr. Only 0.5 seconds. Let's go on board with McDonald and let's see if he's going to be able to make a pass done in this 1 minute of racing. This is most likely, they'll probably have one more lap after this. But he's only got a couple laps to make it done. They're going into Spoon. This is a really fast swooping left-hander. You want to get on that curb on the outside, but it can easily unsettle the car. It's kind of off camber, really weird. You don't really know when to get on the gas, but they do get on the gas for the back straight here. Coming up to that extremely fast left-hander 130R, where everyone else has been having some bad luck. Landon Orr dips a tire into the grass there. Jeff McDonald swings it around to take it through nice and easy. Coming up to this hairpin, hard on the brakes behind that Ferrari. Landon Orr takes a little bit of a defensive line, although it's hard to get a pass done here anyways. And we do have some incidents going on elsewhere, but they're coming up to Degna 1. He backs off a little early, maybe trying to get a better exit on Degna 2, but I don't think it's going to happen. That was a pretty big gap that Landon Orr pulled out there. It looks like we do have Chris Kraus crashing. Let's take a look. No front bumper going through 130R. No crash there. Coming up to the hairpin. Ooh, just got to woe down. That's a weird hairpin. That'll happen. Nick Tyrrell going off track. Let's see what happened. In that black Lamborghini, coming through 130R. Ooh, just gets loose. Slams it into the wall. Disappears into the ether. And there is the checkered flag. That is Sean Roberts. Sean Roberts crossed the line in P1. Tyler Langenberg in P2. Newcomer Kevin Hayes taking home a podium in P3. Behind him, Jeff McDonald in that Ninja Botanicals Porsche at P4. A little bit of damage on the front end there. Landon Orr managed to take it home P5. Chris Kraus in a bumperless Mercedes coming across the line in P6. Jason Shank in that green Porsche taking home P7. Nick Tyrrell, unfortunately, was banished to the Shadow Realm. He finishes in P7, followed up by Patrick Cantrell in P9 and Nate Sides P10. Exciting race. Kind of seemed like a rough track. We will get Roberts and Langenberg in the booth and maybe hear from Devin Adams too in these driver interviews. We'll be right back. looks like we got our drivers in the waiting room here. We're gonna start with Tyler Langdenberg, who finished P2. Talk us through that race. How was that for you today?
It was a little hectic, honestly. Yeah, that 130R, pretty dangerous for a lot. I'm one of the fortunate, and regarding that, I'm now the owner of a brown leather chair. So, yeah, I'm okay with coming away with a P2 after that.
Yeah, I was surprised you were able to keep it out of the wall on that wreck. That was pretty crazy.
I was absolutely swatting flies trying to keep it off the wall. Like, no, don't, no.
Yeah, this is
Hopefully
definitely
kept it out of the wall.
This is definitely a tricky track. Without that whole like swoopy section, you're just left with like this weird technical and that weird chicane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I'm still on the side of I don't like that chicane, but you know, here we are.
yeah, it's not the best chicane. Well, I'm happy you came home with a P2. That was a good race. Very unfortunate for Patrick Cantrell, but that's what happens.
Yeah, I saw he flipped. I haven't been able to go back to the replay yet.
Yeah, I went on board with him for your guys' chase, and the second I did, he just shot right into the wall. It was a good moment on the broadcast.
Mental corner. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. All right, well, good job on P2. Hopefully we'll see you in the booth next week.
Yep. Thank you. See ya.
And
Keeping
then-
me off.
Hey, we are here with Sean Roberts with another P1.
Hey, Marcus. Sorry, I was talking to Kevin there when you pulled me.
Oh, you're good. I didn't think you were going to be able to pull it off for another P1 this race, but you did it. How was that race for you?
I'm actually the more I'm driving it, the more I'm liking the setup that we have in this car. I can, especially in the higher speed stuff, I can really use the throttle to get the car to turn through the corners. But the secondary, like spoon, I'm a little hesitant at times because of the way the ABS and the aero is on the car. There's not a lot there, so if you got too much rear bias, which is what I had, that caused that spin.
Yeah, the iRacing medium downforce setup is surprisingly slippery.
Nah, I like it.
Well, that is good. Congratulations on your P1 here, and then
Yeah, I mean,
Go
those
for
those guys kept me honest. I mean, Kevin was there. I mean, if I made a mistake, he was right on my rear bumper. So I mean, you know, it wasn't just a cruise. Those guys were on it.
yeah, that was definitely good racing for sure. Well, hopefully we will see you back here for some more interviews next week.
All right, Marcus,
Have a good one.
have a good one.
Well, that was it. I don't think we're going to get Devin Adams in the booth for his 2 last place interviews, but maybe we will next week. Thanks for joining us here for this doubleheader in Japan. And we will see you next week for another endurance race at Watkins Glen. That will definitely be a good race, one of my favorite tracks. So we'll see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good one.